Good evening and welcome back to the Final Flight podcast. We're here once again for a very special episode. We've got Bo and Craig from Rein It In, lads. How are you this evening?
Very good, James. You?
Yeah, I'm very good, mate. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Obviously, it was going to be an Ascot preview / little anti-post special, but we've decided, obviously, with the racing all been called off, we're going to deep dive into some of the Cheltenham Festival races. And we thought the only way we could do that is bring some specialists in. And it's Bo and Craig. Bo, you've obviously got a keen eye for Cheltenham. Are you looking forward to it 2 months out?
Yeah, I can't wait. Best week of the year.
Yeah, what about you, Craig?
Yeah, to be fair, my excitement ramps up probably from Boxing Day onwards. I think all the way up until probably till Punchestown, really. This is probably the best time of year by a country mile for me when it comes to the racing.
Yeah, these next 3 or 4 months is where it all sort of heats up and kicks off. Rich Joe, and obviously we've had the weather kicking off again and all the racing's been called off. But, you know, we've got the Cheltenham Anti-Post show. It's been a big success so far. Loads of guests. We're going to have a break on Monday since we're doing this tonight. Are you looking forward to getting stuck into some festival races?
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, 2 great guests again. So, yeah, can't wait to ramble on and entertain the viewers.
The gloves are off tonight.
For us.
The gloves are off tonight, Joe. You can talk as much as you want, don't worry. Just don't pen. If I hear that pen once, I'm going to mute you. Rich, obviously, we've got a few selections. You know, you're the king of putting one up that's then dead in the water after about 30 seconds. So I'm hoping we're going to get some nice opinions off you, mate.
Yeah, I'm just going to be learning from these two tonight, I think, after my current record.
Yeah, there's a few lads have watched it back a little bit, but he's probably got 3 or 4 up now where you've put it up and then 30 seconds later it's a loser. So,
are you the kiss of death, Rich?
Yeah, I'm going to tip Con Hill, I think, next time just to see how that goes.
Yeah, if you've got any selections, lads, and you put them up and Rich agrees with you, cash out. I'll just quickly put this comment up. Craig, good evening, mate. Craig's our good friend from Ferrero. He's a real big supporter of the podcast, so cheers, mate, for that. Appreciate it, Craig. Right, lads, we're going to get stuck straight in. So what I've done is I've sort of put some graphics together with the sort of the markets or sort of first so many of the markets, and I'll just stick them up, and we'll have a little chin wag, and we'll just go around and talk about each one and see where we sort of land and go from there. If that's all right, I'm going to stick the first one up then. No better place to start than the Supreme Novices Hurdle. So I'm going to stick this up here. Can you all see that? Is the question.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, I can.
Greg, you could learn a thing or two here, couldn't you?
I'm showing you how it's done, lads. I've not done a single bit of work actual work today. I've been grafting on all this, so hopefully it pays for us to be able to see that. So I'll keep putting it up, but obviously Mystical Powers sitting himself at the top of the market there. Jericho Drapenair, Ballyburn, etc., etc. I won't sort of go through them, but I'm going to swing through to you then, lads, first. I'll come to you first, Bo, if I can. Supreme Novices Hurdle, what are sort of your initial thoughts on some of these runners?
I'm not entirely sure about the favourite. He was kind of one that I put up on my Twitter. I cashed out quite a nice slip on him purely because he was running throughout the summer. It's not Willie's usual MO to run his Supreme horses through the summer. I'm just not entirely sure what he beat that day. As impressive as he was, I'm just not entirely sure. I think there's also a bit of question marks about where he's actually going to go. I've seen a lot of people talking about Ballymore, people talking about Supreme. He's 4-1. I think it's very short for a horse. He might not come here. I know he showed a lot of gears, but yeah, I just think JP's got so many, he's going to have to split them up. The one that is probably overpriced in the market, I'd say, is Far and Glory. I think Grade 1 winner. I think that former King of Kingsfield is pretty solid. He's definitely overpriced. It could just become a race that is pretty shoddy very quickly. There could be a lot to come out, and all of a sudden you're left with sort of no real runners. I fancy Jericho Drapenair quite strongly, but I just wouldn't advise him as a bet. I just think the price on him is absolutely shocking. He's not really done anything to warrant being 9-2, 4-1 in some places, biggest 5-1. He's not done anything to warrant that sort of price. So if I was to have a bet now, I'd probably either have Far and Glory, I think he's overpriced, or I'd probably chance Mirazor West. I just think he was running against a race fit rival who had obviously run in a Grade 1 previously. So I think at 20-1, I'd give him a go. That'd be my 2 at the moment against the field at the prices.
Well, I mean, I'll swing to you, Rich. I mean, you'll be happy to hear Mirazor West mentioned there. You put him up, and then he got beat obviously on debut. Very keen that day, like he says there. What would your thoughts be thinking? Are you sort of happy to stick with him, give him another chance? I know he's where's he entered here? I don't know where he's entered next, but are you going to give him another chance
today? Yeah, he's meant to run today, wasn't he?
Also, yeah, it got called off, didn't it? Fair house, that's correct. Are you going to stick with him, mate, or are you thinking of something else? I mean, I sort of agree there with Bo. Farron Glory is an interesting one. The question would be how. I mean, he did look like he was travelling pretty well, didn't he, in that entry race? Hopefully, the fall's not taken too much out of him. But what are your thoughts, Rich, mate? Where are you thinking, sort of this at this point?
I think it's JP's to lose, personally.
If he throws a lot of it, it'd be interesting.
I did like Mystical Power's performance. I thought that was quite. I thought he showed some good speed. Jericho Durepine, I'm not 100% sure how that form stacks up. I mean, he beat King William Rufus, I think, on his first hurdles run. And I mean, he's only rated 108. And yeah, I don't think he's going to be up to much else.
He were jogging round, weren't they, I suppose?
I'm still. Mirazor West, I think, is about 20-1 now. I still think he's got potential. I mean, he got beat by King of Kingsfield, but that was his first one. And King of Kingsfield, I think, had ran 3 or 4 times before that, so he had a lot more experience. Again, I'm not 100% sure on this market. I don't know where to currently sit at. I mean, Mirazor West is probably the one that I'm still fancying, but I won't like to nail my colours to anything else just yet.
It's a shocking market, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is absolutely horrific market to bet in.
It's tough, like I say, it's very open. I mean, I'll swing to you, Craig. I mean, if JP's desperate to win a Supreme, I suppose throwing every single horse he owns at it's a good idea. But I mean, what are you thinking? I mean, Mystical Power looked pretty impressive, but at the same time, like I say, what's he beat? What are you thinking?
I think you can say that. I think you can say that about a few of them. If I'm honest with you, I think there's a few of these horses where you're sort of looking and saying, well, what have they beaten? I mean, that's sometimes the picture of how the Supreme works out. You're betting on potential rather than you've seen. The one horse that I'd probably watch next time out, I probably won't back it at this moment in time, is No Flies on Him. I thought it was quite impressive first time out against some experienced rivals as well. And he jumped well, travelled well. So I'm looking forward to seeing him again. But for me, it's not probably a race I'd get too heavily involved in at this stage, because I just think it's a bit of a minefield. I mean, you don't know if Ballyburn's going to turn up in the race, which then puts a different angle on it again as well, because that means something else will come out of the race and go to the Ballymore. I'm not an each-way punter, but if I was, that would be my angle. I think I'd try and look for something at a bit more of a heavier price and then probably going each way. But yeah, it's not for me. And on Farron Glory, I'm not trying to cause havoc already, bro, but I don't think many horses that Gordon or Willie fancy, or even Gavin Cromwell for that matter of fact, for a big race at Cheltenham, tend to send the runners over to England. They normally stay over and they normally try and have a decent prep over in Ireland, generally speaking. I can't remember the last horse that ever came over to England prior to a Cheltenham Festival and went on to win. But I mean, listen, trends are there to be booked, so...
I love that angle.
Valuable race at Aintree, wasn't it? I think it was.
What's that, sorry?
I think it was a pretty valuable race at Aintree that he came over for.
Was it Energumene, the last one? Who come over? I know he didn't win.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah,
quite possibly. Yeah, when he came third, didn't he, in the Clarence House?
Yeah.
But I mean, again, that's Energumene's a season campaigner, isn't he, as well? I mean, this is obviously the novice. Yeah, I mean, there's an argument to say that they're trying to get some experience into him travelling, and like you say, he could have very easily bolted up because he was travelling like the best horse in the race, really all the way around. And he won the Royal Bond quite well as well, which we can't forget about. And there was a King Kingfield's come out and beat Mirazor West. But I think this market will look completely different after the DRF. Is my prediction on this.
Well, I mean, Ballyburn's going to be the favourite after the DRF, isn't he? He's going to go and win that 2-mile race, and then he'll be the favourite. And everyone clutching Ballymore slips will be pulling their hair out.
Well, he'll have knock-on effect to work with. Jericho Durepine will become a favourite with Sydney Banks, no doubt. And then you're going to have... It's just going to chop and change all the way through. That's all it'll be.
Like I said, they'll have to win the race, but that DRF race, that 2 mile novice hurdle is going to be, if they all sort of turn up. I mean, you'll probably having good horses who people fancy getting beat out of sight, sort of thing. So you just don't know what's going to happen. But I'll just stick this up here. Obviously, Jack's come on the comments. He's put, "Evening lads, rein it in, boys. Finally make an appearance. First point on board at Cheltenham when Farron Glory bolts up." Well, Craig just told you why he's not going to win, Jack. So that point's on you back sounds of it. Go on then, Joe. I'll swing to you again. That's my new phrase for tonight, swinging round. But I mean, my original selection on the Cheltenham show was Will Mount, obviously. He pulled up in that shallow up in Trip. The ground were a bit desolate that day. I'm willing to forgive him one run. I mean, he's about 33 to 1 now. So, I mean, obviously, I won't be backing him just yet. I'd want to see him run again. But I'm tentatively sticking with him a little bit while these Irish kind of all take each other on at the DRF and see what comes out of that before I make a decision if I'm going to back anything else. But go on, Joe. What are your thoughts on Supreme? Fire away.
Yeah, probably. I mean, we seem to have tried to leave this race alone on the podcast. We haven't talked about it much, but yeah, probably say Farron Glory at the prices is an eye catcher. I mean, talking about the markets, I always go to say, it's a very open market this year, but the market's very short. I mean, it's an open race, but the market's way too short. But obviously, you go through Farron Glory. I know Marine won the Royal Bond last year. Whether he's as good as him, I don't think so. But one thing for me is he's won 2 mile 3 on heavy ground. And, they go off like the clappers in the Supreme every year. You need a horse that stays a lot further. So for me, that would be a tick in the box. But I mean, when you go through, I mean, you look at the further down, you've got Daddy Longlegs in there who pulled up on, rotten ground before that. A lot of people were saying, is it, one of the best from Ireland? Will Mount was a talk. Down memory lane was the talk. You've got a lot in here who had a big reputation of, the form seems to have collided some way. Like you've got Ballyburn in there, Antique. You've got Firefox. That I wouldn't say they've all beat each other, but none of them are looking bomb-proof. I feel like a lot of the horses in here, and I mean it's the same every year, but nothing's really set this race alight yet, and I don't really want to back anything single figures, to be honest. Farron Glory 14 to 1, probably a decent price. You never know, do you? I mean, you could get, like you said there, Will Mount turning up on good ground somewhere, bolting in, and all of a sudden, he's back in at 10 to 1. You just don't know. I don't think we've seen the best of any horse in this field yet, but I'll probably stick with Farron Glory only because he's obviously won the Royal Bond. He won it pretty well. He's won over further. He is a 7-year-old. He's probably that bit more mature. So yeah, probably for that reason, Farron Glory. But you can't say for me.
Yeah, we'll find out a bit more in a couple of weeks. Rich, did you put it's for me up? Do you not still like him? No.
Well, nobody's seen him, have they?
You put him up, and then 30 seconds later, we were told he was probably injured, didn't we?
Yeah, so that was a good
one of the
one.
old knockers, but that was funny.
It's all on me as a West from my team, isn't it?
Yeah, you've taken 2 punts at this Supreme, and you'll be lucky if they both turn up. But yeah, fingers crossed for you, mate. Michael's jumped on. Hello, lads. Good evening, Michael. Thanks for jumping in there, mate. I'll get through all the comments when I can. Right then, so that's the Supreme, like we say, a very open market, a very wide open race. The DRF will tell us a hell of a lot of answers. So if you're thinking of diving into Supreme, maybe wait a little bit if you're not too fussed about guessing on a price. But we'll see how they get on. Right then, I'm going to throw the Ballymore up. You'll like this. Here we go. Look at this. We come prepared. Ballyburn, obviously 4-1 favourite. Mystical Powers in it. Atlantique. Reading Tommy Wrong. Slade Steel. Glitter Park. Blah, 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 blah. I'll come round to you then, Rich. I'll let you kick us off with Ballymore. Do you like any of these on here on first glance sort of thing?
If I'm honest with you, no. The only one I kind of like is Ballyburn. But whether or not he goes here or the Supreme, it's just one of those. I also like, is it the Gidley Park? Is it Harry Fry? I mean, I don't think he's beat a lot, but he's done it very impressively. And I think he's about 14 to 1, I think. He's maybe one of a small each way punt at, but it's not really a market. Again, there's nothing that stands out and kind of takes me fancy. Like I say, Ballyburn looked quite decent over 2 mile 4 last time out, winning by 25 lengths. Yeah, it's not a mark. Again, probably wait to see after the DRF, see who beats what, and you might get a bit better idea of who's going up in trip, who's dropping back, sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we had the Lawlers and Ace, obviously. I mean, my selection originally was Il Atlantique. I thought he was going to win that race, and he's got done late on by reading Tommy wrong. So now the question marks about him, but he beat everything else pretty well. So do they give it one more go, stick with Ballymore, do they step him back? He's got pretty high cruising speed, all that sort of stuff. I mean, I'll come to you, Craig. I'm sure you guys actually, were you guys that put a tweet out about Gidley Park? I think it might have been.
That wouldn't have been me.
Somebody put a tweet out saying they didn't think he was going to even place in a
Probably me.
I'm sure it was you, Chris. Like Gidley Park won't even place in the Ballymore. I'm sure it was you. No. So that's why I've come to you there. What do you think of Gidley Park and the rest?
This is, in my opinion, just your stereotypical English trying to cling on to something that we can try and cling on to for a Cheltenham Festival winner of some sort. It's all right in winning. I mean, I can't. What Newbury won at? But somewhere, I don't know, we're left-handed. I can't remember the track that he won at, but whatever it was.
Exeter Newbury, yeah.
Yeah, Newbury. And listen, I know he's won well, and visually it looks very good, but just look at what's in behind. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. Yet we have this big thing to try and cling on to the hope that it's going to be the next big thing for England, and unfortunately, it's just not going to be. I mean, I think me and Bo spoke about this before. I couldn't care less where the winners come from as long as I've backed it. I don't care if it's Ireland. I don't care if it's UK. I'm not bothered as long as we get the winner. And listen, he may well turn out to be a great horse, but I can't remember the last time I backed and really punted an anti-post horse from the UK. Apart from if it's maybe being a Nicky Henderson horse that's maybe come with a big reputation, but I can't remember maybe ever sort of backing anything anti-post. Until on the day, maybe you might have a little wager on something, but in terms of an anti-post bet, I very rarely touch UK horses, and I think it's because, and it's a subject we've brought up on our pod before, the competition that these horses have in the lead up to Cheltenham. The Irish horses are always more battle hardened because they're always racing against each other, whereas over in the UK they're always avoiding each other. So when it actually comes down to the nitty gritty of it, in my opinion, I'd always probably more fancy an Irish horse than I would do a UK horse, and I don't think it's down to the quality of the horses, because Paul Nicholls will pay 410 grand for a horse or 450 grand for a horse, just as much as Cordelia to pay 350. I just think there just seems to be something clearly at this moment in time which is giving the Ireland an advantage over the UK. What it is, I don't know. Go back, 20 years or so, it was the UK that had the advantage. We had the Cato Stars, you had your best mate, you had Denmans. It'll come back round again, but for whatever reason at this moment in time, there's just something that I think that's edging it towards the other side of the pond for the best horses. I mean, the one horse I like in this race, if it gets its ground, is Slade Steel. It finished third. I think it was on good ground. It finished third on, and it's 3 from 4. The other times it was on soft and heavy. Now I think if it comes up soft on the Wednesday, which it has done for the last couple of years, I think this horse has got a very good chance. It beat King of Kingsfield over 2 mile. Fairly comfortably, so it's got some nice tiding form with other horses. I think if it comes up soft like it has done over the last couple of years, I think it could have a decent chance at a reasonable price.
Yeah, I like that. I think Slade still is a really good horse. Like I say, if you go back through his form, he's beaten some good horses there. And like I say, Rich's Gidley Park's in the bin already, so I love that even better. I'll just chuck this comment up here. Let's talk racing. Lads have been on. Nice work, lads. Agree with Joe. Nothing sticks out in the Supreme at the moment. Cheers for tuning in, lads. And Chris, hello, lads. Some good guests again. Yeah, we always only get the best guests on this show. Promise you, we bring good quality content, which means getting other people on. Because we always sound like this half the time. Let's talk racing. Said Slade Steel. Love it. Yeah, I think Slade Steele's got a really good chance. I look through the entry. He's entered in that 2 mile race as well, so it'll be interesting to see how he goes on in that, if he does turn up in that. But he looks a real player, if you ask me. Like I said, for me, I went for Il Atlantique before he got beaten the Losnay, so I don't really know what they're going to do with him. But I'll come to you. But again, similar to the Supreme, it looks pretty open, don't you think?
Yeah. I think if Ballyburn comes here, I think he just wins.
Is he winning Supreme on the Tuesday, then turning up on the Wednesday as well?
No. I think the 2 mile 5 would be the optimum trip, I think the middle distance is really where you're going to see him to best effect. Slightly worried about the DRF and him winning there and then diverting. But if they came here, yeah, I just think he's so far clear of everything else. I think he's a proper horse. The sort of at the start of the season, he was the one that Willie sort of loved. He was the top novice hurdler this season, and he fluffed his lines on debut. But I think Firefox just being race fit and sort of over the 2 miles, I think probably had a bit too much speed for him. But the last day we saw Ballyburn, I thought he was so impressive. I know he was a really short price, but he absolutely tanked through that race and just, yeah, it reminded me a bit of Impera Pass in his debut last season. I just thought he was so good, and I've not seen a performance like that from any novice hurdler this season that's made me sort of think, wow, that was pretty special. So, yeah, I think over the mid trip, I think he's pretty bomb proof, but there's obviously the worry. He's quite short. He's 4-1. And you've obviously got that question mark over if he's going to go to the Supreme. But I think Willie should do the right thing and send him to the race where he's going to be the most effective.
Yeah, I think you're not far wrong there. I think I'd be a little bit worried about him going back over 2 miles. I mean, if he does somehow win the DRF race, then fair play. I think that's kind of the hand played there. But I'll come to you, Joe. The Ballymore, obviously it's called something different now, the Bingham or something. I think you said it the other night. But what are your thoughts, mate? Slade still does look pretty good. I quite agree with Craig there, actually, the more you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I've got Ballyburn for a decent price, to be fair, but I do agree with Bo. I think if I was to back, I don't think it's value, but if you were going to back Ballyburn, I mean, you've got to back non-runner, no bet. Because if he does turn up here, he is going to be a lot shorter than the 4-1. It would be tough to see him win the 2 mile race in Ireland and then come here. But Willie's always gone for a steer in the Supreme and a speed horse in the Ballymore. I mean, you look at Impera Pass, the first thing they said after the Ballymore last year was he might go on to challenge Constitution Hill. And obviously they campaigned him that way this year till they realised he sort of wasn't really in that bracket. But I do think Willies are quite versatile. I mean, he won a 3 mile point. He's won over 2 mile. You know, he did show his class the last day. I know he was off short, but I think the thing that impressed me the most was, you know, after they went round the last, they didn't jump it. Paul sat on him. And was Paul, I think, and off he went. And I just thought, you know, he knew his job there. And I thought he'd just start to get motoring. He loved the hill, won't he? I mean, again, bit like the Supreme, I think it is still a wide open race, isn't it? You know, if you can find something at a decent price in there, fair enough. But for me, I wouldn't be backing anything now. Like you say, I've got a Ballyburn. I think there's a lot of people that have him at a decent price. And I don't think I'll probably bet anything until maybe all the hands are played, all the cards are played.
Yeah, I think you're taking a big risk if you're backing something before that DRF race. It could be a lot of anti-post slips in the bin after that weekend, I think, which is 90% of Richie's slips anyway. So we'll see how it goes. Right, so I love it. We're going to move on then to the Albert Bartlett. Another very tough race, wide open. Reading Tommy Wrong's obviously gone into favourite.
Bloody factor file. Jesus.
Well, still in there, an odds checker. I couldn't believe that when I saw it myself.
God, they're a bunch of crooks, aren't they?
Please do not. Absolute crooks. I've seen some things on Twitter today. I think Racing Lee put a tweet up about somebody had Jess Scale still in the markets for things that I thought it's disgraceful. Really? Honestly, it's utterly disgraceful what some of them do. It's really bad. So you really do need to do your own work if you're thinking of backing a horse in anti-post markets, because 9 times out of 10 they get it all wrong, don't they? High-class Heroes, interesting one. Lachlan. Ballyburn's obviously in there, probably won't go away. Johnny Hugh, Blizzard of Oz, Lecky Watson, the winner at the bottom of that first column there. And then the rest. I'll come to you, Joe. You can kick us off, mate. The Albert Bartlett. Let's get stuck into the Albert Bartlett. We love the Albert Bartlett, don't we? What a race. What a race.
I'm quite glad, actually, because I really like Johnny Hugh. You know, watching it the last day, I must admit, I was a bit gutted when Captain Teague won, because I couldn't have had him that day. But I just thought after the last, he really stuck on, and it was the first time he'd properly faced anything before. And if you watch, John Joe O'Neill didn't really get stuck into him till after the last, he brought the whip round and he really rattled home. And I just, they mentioned it straight after going up in trip. And, you look at the markets and again, there's nothing that stands out. I mean, reading Tommy wrong, would they take him to the Ballymore? I'm not too sure. But, Johnny Hughes won a 3 mile point to point. So obviously he can win over that. He had one run over 2 mile and half a furlong at Taunton, and then they took him over straight to 2 mile 4. So they sort of know he's going to be one better up in trip. And I just think he's one with sort of a bit of untapped potential, but he's got a bit of form in there. Look away. Neil King said he may go the Supreme. And if they're talking about Supreme horses and 2 lengths behind Captain Teague, and I think he was about 7 lengths behind when they jumped the last. It's not too bad, and for a horse, they all say Captain Teague's a stay. I know he done nothing in front, but I just think Johnny Who at 16-1, they mentioned him going here, isn't a bad bet, really.
No, that's fair copies, that, mate. Like I say, what's staying on in that race? I mean, it was tough going that day. How Captain Teague's won that, I don't know, but he's a semi-decent horse. But I'll come to you, Craig, mate. Are you a fan of Captain Teague? Are you a fan of anything here at the moment? It's some decent prices to maybe cover a couple in here if you can do.
Yeah, I think Captain Teague, I think is probably going to end up in Aintree, if I'm honest with you. And I also get the impression, I think he probably, whatever he does this season will be a bonus. I think they probably see him as a staying chaser. So whether he'll go to Cheltenham,
classic chaser in the making, as they say. Yeah.
Yeah, as they always say. But I'm sure I read something somewhere that he'd been bought for chasing, basically, in terms of obviously as a long-term project. So I think whatever happens this season is going to be a bonus. Again, it's the same thing in all these novice races at the moment. It's a complete minefield in terms of what's going to go where. The one horse in this race, and I know it might sound daft, I don't know if he's going to turn up in the race, but one horse that's a big interest to me is Predator's Gold for Willie Mullins. Ran last time out in a 2 mile, which was way short of what it actually needs. You could see it in the way that it runs. I think it ran over 2.5 mile and beat the Clipper Logistics horse that won last time out. Mossy Fen Park. He beat that for, I think, Mossy Fen Park debut. He beat that quite comfortably. Mossy Fen Park then came out and won, but it just looks like a horse that wants a lot further. Now, whether he's just been prepped up for a good Albert Bartlett run or he's been looked at for a handicap or Martin Pike, I'm not too sure. But if he was to go here, I think he'd be interested at a big price to me. Because again, I'm not really interested in getting involved at the front end of the market because you just don't know what's going to turn up and what's not. So I'd look for something like that at a big price. What's the other ones on at the front of the market again that you showed? Where are we? You get up again for us, James? Sorry, High Class Hero. That's the other one I think, which is probably the, I won't say an unknown quantity, but I think it's been quite well documented that it wants good ground. Hence why it's not been running over the winter period. So with that one, you're probably gambling on the fact that you're going to get good ground at the festival as well. I think Ruby Walsh mentioned it as well on Road to Cheltenham that he wants basically summer ground or good ground. So whether he'll actually turn up, whether they'll wait if it's bad ground and go to Punchestown with him as well, it's a tough race to judge at this moment in time. It really is. It's all over the place, really, to be fair.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, like you say, it's very open in terms of, we're not seeing a couple of these horses for a couple of months, and it makes you wonder if they are waiting for that better ground. Go on then, Bo. I mean, we've got the Nathaniel Lacey at the DRF. A few of these are entered in that, so they might come up against each other at the that weekend. But, I mean, I personally put up Shanna Bob before he run at Cheltenham.
Yeah,
I quite like him. I know he did a lot wrong that day and still managed to win. I think he is an absolute stay. I think he's got a good chance. He's been nibbled in. 16s isn't too bad. Have you had a look at anything for this? Any sort of ones you're keeping your eye on going forward next couple of months before we get there?
Yeah, Predator's Gold I'm interested in. I'm just keeping an eye on that Nathaniel Lacey, see what happens there before I got stuck into any Irish ones. It's a bit difficult this race this year because I think it's difficult to know what's going to turn up. But unlike everyone else, speculatively, I quite fancy Captain Teague. Which I'm sorry, lads.
Oh, you and Craig must get along so well. I mean, it's brilliant. I love that.
Yeah, we love arguing. We love arguing. Yeah, I just think he's
opinions.
He's won the Challow in bottomless ground. When he got to the front, did he idle? I know it's easy to say that like the horses in behind were staying on and might have beaten him, but they didn't. So he's got the win to his name. He's been given sort of sighting of the racecourse twice. I'm pretty sure Paul Nicholls has said that he's going to go to the Albert Bartlett. He's 18-1. He's won a Challow. He's Challow grade 1, I think. It's not been demoted yet to a grade 2, is it?
No, it's still grade 1 yet.
Yeah. So he's grade 1 winner, 18-1. I think it's fair game. I would agree. He looks like a stayer in the making, staying chaser in the making. He's a very big horse. But yeah, I think last season I didn't fancy Stay Away Faye. So this season I'm going to go with Paul Nicholls and hope that he gets the business done. But yeah, I mean, really, I think the telling sign will be the Nathaniel Lacey. See what happens there. If something's really impressive, then yeah, I might jump ship. But at the moment, we haven't had that. So yeah, Captain Teague for me. I think at the prices.
I think as well, James. Sorry for interrupting. It depends. It depends how you are as well in terms of how you put your anti-post pool of horses together as well in terms of what you're going to try and back at this moment in time. People have different ways of doing things, and obviously Bo has a bit of a book that he tries to get together, tries to cover horses in certain races. I try and just get one horse if I can and try and follow it all the way in. That's just how I do it. But for example, if there's any of these horses that you fancy, like for example, we'll use Predator's Gold as an example. I think at the minute he's the favourite for the Nathaniel Lacey. He's 20-1 at this moment in time. That's in places for the Albert Bartlett. You know for a fact that if he wins that, he's going to come flying into about 6 or 7-1. So when it comes to sort of like edging your bets in terms of your cash outs or whatever it is like that, just always have a look at the races that are coming up that are going to influence the market, just depending on how you do your books and how you do your anti-post betting.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's definitely important to look into where they're going to be running and how it's going to affect the prices. I mean, Rich, have you got an Albert Bartlett selection? I can't remember if you put one up yet or not.
Not yet, no.
What are your thoughts then, mate? What are you looking at?
Oh no, I've got one. Yeah, I chose Stellar Story, I think, from my post team.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, another one that got beat. Yep.
Another one got beat. Yeah.
Sorry, mate. I don't mean to be hammering you tonight. It's just sort of happens naturally.
There's an outsider here that I potentially do fancy a little bit that you might slate me for, but I do like Joe's Johnny Who selection. I think, like Joe said, he was staying out at the end. I thought Step Up and Trip is probably going to suit him. This is probably the race that he's going to be aimed for. My outside punt, and I wouldn't advise anybody to follow this.
This is brilliant.
I quite fancy, is it Chapeau de Soleil for Mullins?
Yeah.
I think he's about 30.
Hang on, Rich. I've just got a text, mate. It's injured.
Yeah, probably.
Just got injured now. Just fell over in the stall now. In stable.
I think last season, I'm sure Mullins thought this horse was his main bumper horse, and it just didn't really click. He won in his hurdles debut, and I think Patrick Mullins came out and said they thought he was going to be a Group 1 contender this season. He obviously ran in the Lawlers? Was it the Lawlers?
Yeah.
He clattered the first couple, and that was the end of him. But I just think Step Up and Trip probably was going to suit. I think he wasn't given a hard time in the Lawlers, and I just think it's quite a nice, decent price for one that Patrick Mullins thinks could be a grade 1. So I'm just going to have a little small play on him, I think, for this.
If he wins and I've not backed him, I will be fucking sick. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear, but after the season we had together, me and Chapeau last season,
you just did the bottom of the map, isn't
it? I'd be done.
Some of the conversations in our group chat about Chapeau de Soleil, man. Oh my word!
Thought it was the second one, didn't we, Craig?
He's going to win a big race at some point.
Yeah,
he'll win a big race at some point, and then the one day you're not on him, he'll win it. You think, oh, chuffing hell, I can't believe I missed that.
It'll all click at some point.
He'll win a race in about a grade 5 when he gets transferred to another trainer. That's what.
Yeah, Newcastle or something.
Yeah.
Hey, well, like Newcastle, I've got. I'm 1 for 1 as an owner at Newcastle. I'll go there all day long. I'll jump in here. Then Christine's got a comment. Good evening, gents. Good evening, Christine. Thanks for jumping on. Wayne Harrison's jump on. This is Irish are fanny betters.
Come on, Wayne. Get up the way.
Let's talk crap in the comments. Feel free. We're normally talking crap on the podcast, but like I say, we've got some good lads on tonight, so we'll crack up. Right, so I'm going to skip the next race. I don't think I can be arsed listening to Joe talk about a certain horse for about an hour.
Can we just ask the lads, right? So obviously, you know how it is. James transferred last year. You know.
Sorry, Joe, you've been muted. Sorry, mate. Your computer's not working, pal.
What race is this? What race are you talking about skipping?
We're talking about the Arkle. All it was, James.
I'm going for authorised speed 100 to 1, I think. Bank it.
All I'm going to say is I got absolutely hammered at the start of the season. James and Rich, his breeding isn't right. He's not going to win. There's no way he's better than Facile over fences.
Just like to eat flat bread.
No way at all. Rich put him up on the Ante post. They were all the rage for Seal when he made his chasing debut. Oh, he's fantastic. He's improved so much.
Fucking hell, Joe, he's not won yet.
Then he fell in a hole in Ireland.
I mean, to be fair, I've got to
get it in because I got it all at the start of the season.
If you noticed though, Joe, I haven't put Facile in my team yet. See, smart, go think smart.
Yeah, because you were never on Facile, were you? But no, I just think Marine's brilliant, isn't he? I mean, he was, like I say, it was just nice to see him fluent over the chasing obstacles. That was the main thing. And
he's only beaten firm footings by about 8 lengths. That's not really good form, is it?
Yeah, I just think. I mean,
it was beginning his chase against nothing, and he's going to bolt up.
Yeah, so do you still think Facile will win then, Rich? I'll pass it over to Rich. Go on, Rich.
I just can't wait for Willie Mullins to throw about 8 darts in the Irish Arkle just to get him beat.
I mean, put 60 to. Go on, sorry, Bo.
I am a fan of Marine Nationale, so don't take this the wrong way. But if I was having a bet now, I would rather back Facile Vega each way than Marine Nationale to win.
Yeah, he's massively short, isn't he? I think it's a combination of him winning the Supreme last year and trainers saying that he would win and then saying straight after the Arkle. I'm certain he went from 8s or 10s into 5 as soon as he made the comment, then into 7 to 2. He has been not, I wouldn't say a hype horse, but he was always destined to go very short. Once he won his chasing debut, like I say, there is a lot of horses at the moment that you look at markets and I think, James put it up there. He should win at DRF, all considered, but. Would you take that price now? There's no chances that you'd rather be backing something each way at them prices. Like you say, you can say for a few races, in my opinion, anyway.
What are you?
I think Craig's got quite a strong opinion on this race, haven't you, Craig?
Go on then, Craig. Let's hear it, mate. What's your strong opinion? Here we go. Come on.
Embarrass the podcast.
But we're going to lose followers, aren't we? We're going to lose followers, but just remember that the racing's a game of opinions. That's all I'll say.
And your opinion's wrong.
So I backed Marine Nationale for the Supreme last year, so I'm not knocking the horse at all. This 2 mile division is the worst 2 mile chasing novice division I've ever seen for a long time. It's absolutely horrendous, and I think Marine Nationale is so much of a shorter price because all the rest are that bad. I'm not trying to say Marine Nationale isn't a good 2 mile chaser. I'm not saying that. But all we learnt last time, ultimately, is that he can jump a fence. That's all you learn. I mean, I think he were rated 30 plus pound more than firm footings over hurdles. So he should have won by that amount. He should have won the way that he won. I think if there had been something else coming through, it would have made the division a bit more exciting. I think the way that it looks now, it looks as though Marine Nationale's probably going to win it at a canter, but I don't think he's an absolute superstar. And the reason why I say that is because me and Bo had a discussion where today we will message him, won't we? Today we're talking about it. And I was saying, if Marine Nationale wins the Arkle this year, just say for whatever reason, I know we're jumping the gun here, but say for whatever reason, all the top horses stay in training again next year over 2 miles. John Bon, El Fabiolo, Energamine even, stick him in the mix. Where would you put Marine Nationale in the betting?
See, this is where we differed, me and Craig.
And this is where the whole opinions differed, because in my opinion, I can't tell you a good horse that Marine Nationale's beat so far. And that's not me knocking him, he's only beating what's in front of him. So you can't knock him for that. But what's it? Shut up, man. That's all. Anyway, sorry, ignore Bo. But you get what I'm trying to say, don't you? If you look at it from a form angle in terms of the horses that's actually been beaten, Facile Vega, to be fair, flopped. I mean, there is an argument to say that it will Leopardstown again, because the last time he flopped was also at Leopardstown. So does that? Does he handle the course? It might be something that he just doesn't like around there. But I don't know. I'm pretty certain Marine National will probably win the Arkle. I actually honestly believe, and I said this probably a few weeks ago to you, but the only horse, in my opinion, that could get near him, possibly beat him, would be Gaelic Warrior, if they decided to go down that route. And I know
that's where we lose followers.
And I've ripped the shit out of the horse.
Oh, my subscribers have just dropped. Shit.
Absolutely. Oh, honest to God, I've absolutely ripped the shit out of him. But it's the only horse I can possibly see getting anywhere near it and making it into a partial race. If he doesn't run in the Arkle, then for me, Marine National will win it. However far it wants to win it, from what I've seen so far.
Do you think they're gonna make the switch with Gaelic then? Do you think they'll throw him in the Irish Arkle and see how close he gets? I mean, if he puts him in the Irish Arkle and we see it, it's interesting, that, isn't it?
I think he'll run in the Irish Arkle because I think Willie Mullins has got too many horses for the 2 mile 5 race that he probably wants to get a run into. Grange Clark West, Factor File, is pretty stacked for that race. So, can I see Gaelic Warrior turn up in the Irish Arkle? Yes. Do I think? Listen, he might not win it because, like I say, he does have a tendency to jump to his right, but I think they'll go there and see how it all pans out, and how close he gets, and if he can make it into a race on the Tuesday, obviously at Cheltenham. There's obviously the debate about the courses. Obviously, there's the new course for the Turners, there's the old course which is a bit tighter for the Arkle. Yep. And again, I totally understand all these arguments. I just think Gaelic Warrior over fences looks a different animal to what he did over hurdles from what I've seen so far. So, yeah, that's my take on it so far. So I won't be having a bet on Marine National at this moment in time, and I have got him in a double already with El Fabiola, by the way. But I won't be touching it now.
I think it's like, I think, probably most of us have covered Marine a little bit in some way, in some sort of bet at a bigger price, and sort of 8 to 11 now is really short. I'd rather just wait till the day to be seeing exactly what's going to be going up against him. Like you say, I mean, Rich, we've sort of spoken about this whole Facile Vega, Gaelic Warrior scenario. I mean, I'd expect them both to go in the Irish Arkle and then just see what happens, and that's what's going to make Willie's decision. What do you think?
I just think it's mad that Gaelic Warrior's gone from going 3 miles down to running an Arkle. I just think it shows what sort of year it's going to be.
Leaves the Turners open for a certain horse anyway, potentially. It does.
I don't know. I mean, I just never really he's a good horse, Marine National, don't get me wrong, but it's just a horse that I've never really warmed to. I just kind of want to get him beat with something, even if it's whatever.
Anything. I just want to get him beat with anything, no matter what it is. Anything.
I hope Gaelic goes to the Irish Arkle. I think that'll be a good test. Like you say, Marine, yeah, he won a beginner's chase by however many lengths. Yeah, he can jump. It's kind of the old excuse when they pulled him out early on in the season because of the ground, and then he ran on a beginner's chase when the ground was probably just as it was when they pulled him out. I just kind of, just doesn't sit right with me. So I just want to get him beat personally.
I can't wait for Patrick Mullins to be at the start line of the Irish Arkle, screaming at all sudden, saying, "You better stay on my outside. Don't you dare go on my left." You know what I mean? Well then, Bo, I mean, obviously it's a big debate. Gaelic Warrior, Marine National. What are your thoughts, mate?
Are you leaving Facile Vega over there, James?
Sorry, Facile Vega. I totally forgot about him then, Joe.
I don't really think Gaelic will come here, to be honest. I think he'll go to the mid-trip myself. I've got nothing really to add, to be honest. I think Marine probably wins. He's a very, very short price for what he's done, as Craig said. But it looks a really, really rubbish race. So it's kind of first elimination. What else is going to beat him?
I said to Joe, Hunter's Yarn, if he can brush up on his jumping, he beat Firm Footings by about 18 length, and Marine only beat him by 8. So that's my only reason why I'd maybe give him a £1 on it.
I'm pretty sure Craig tipped us JPR1, didn't you, Craig?
I did at the beginning of the season, actually. Yeah, I thought he might have done all right, if I'm honest with you. And he's completely fluffed his lines. I actually thought he wasn't a bad little 2 mile chaser, to be honest with you. And then I don't know if he lost a leg or something happened. But
I mean, we've really struggled, haven't we, for a 2-mile chase, like you said.
Yeah, it's the division shocking. But like you say about Hunter's Yarn, I think he was probably the play maybe about a week ago. I think they were about 20-1 in certain areas. I think now he's down to as short as 12s, 10s, something like that.
He was 33-1 before his run.
Yes.
I've got him in here. Where is he now? Yeah, 10-1 best price.
Yeah. I think he was 20-1 last week or something like that when we put it on our
33
yeah, it's interesting. It's an interesting link. You give me a little bit of Fabiolo vibes, not the best jumper maybe, but
you think that just shows how bad the field is, like in terms of horses winning like the first chase starts and stuff like that, one chase start, and the price gets cut straight away. I mean,
that's just the name of the game now, isn't it, Joe? I mean, we said before, Marine National got cut in price just because Facile Vega lost. So it's like, what hope have you got when they go and win a race?
No, 100%. But I think a lot of people, that's what I mean. I think a lot of people seeing the division as them two going at it again. Beaten by 4 lengths. What at Cheltenham, Facile Vega's breeding is all chasing. He's going to improve. I think that was what everyone thought, wasn't it? It's going to be a ding-dong battle again. And he was beaten. Fair enough. It was in a grade 1, but he was beaten, and then that's it, isn't it? That's how.
All I'll say is, Joe, if Marine Nationals beat, you've got to eat a full flatbread on this podcast on the review show.
What about if Facile Vega gets beat?
No, I'm not bothered. I'm not involved.
No, that was the rule on it at the start of the season. Facile Vega or Marine.
I mean, Rich already said it. To be fair, he said that he wanted to get Marine beat, and I think, to be honest with you, I think that's been the mentality of like punters up and down the land since the Supreme. I think people have just wanted him to be beat since the Supreme. Hence why everything is crashing in price. Joe just said about Hunter's Yarn there. He's had two chase starts. He fell in one of them, and he's beaten nothing in the second one, and he's 10-1 for an Arkle. He's already fallen in one race.
The thing as well, though, Bud, what else doesn't help? What else doesn't help as well, though, especially nowadays, because we're his own worst enemy. Because bookies now, they'll put on the horse to win this year and next year. And there's so many people that put them bets on. So there'll be a lot of people that will put the bet on Marine National to win the Supreme and Arkle at 66-1 or whatever it was, or something daft like that. So the liabilities for the bookies go that high. They've got to bring the prices and drop them right in. So in effect, we're actually causing his own downfall by betting on all these daft prices early doors. It's actually his own fault to a certain degree, because that's. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think social media helps either, does it? How big it? I mean, it's not a bad thing, That's why we're all obviously here, and social media is great for getting your voice out and stuff. But I think there's a lot of talk, after certain races, and straight away you see Marine win, and then people are talking about champion chases and stuff. It's bad in my opinion.
Well, it's interesting if you look at the markets for the Supreme, the Ballymore, and the Albert Bartlett. Currently, I don't think is there any, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, because I might be talking completely random, but there's no horses in any of those races that really didn't win the bumper. So if Dream to Share would have been fit and won its first race over hurdles, that'd be 7-4, 13-8. Yep. So
it's like we're just getting into a realm now where every Tom, Dick and Harry's trying to get on the biggest price as early as possible, just so they can sort of say, "Oh, look at the price I've got," and it just kind of everything's becoming earlier and earlier and earlier. And then, like you said, they've then got to shorten them rapid. If they do anything decent, they shorten them stupidly. So, is it people, or is it Bo that gets on these stupid? What have you back for 2027 Supreme, Bo?
I'm staying silent in this.
Stradivarius is full.
Yeah, he's not been born yet.
Well, have you backed that Stradivarius is full for some race, I'm assuming.
Only for the Ascot Gold Cup. Yeah,
Ascot Gold Cup 2028.
Oh, fantastic! Right, well, that's the Arkle. Then we'll move on to another completely muddied race. Then that's going to throw out some weird opinions. But the Turners Novices Chase is obviously one of them. Gaelic Warriors 11-8, short enough. The French Ile Francais, obviously very impressive at Kempton. Not sure whether they'll come over here for this. Facile Vega, could he come here? If he bombs out again in the DRF, we'll see. It's another tight race. I mean, I'm gonna move down there and speak about Irocco just quickly. Obviously, we went to the yard. Green on Guerrero, they've been great with us. Josh come on the podcast on last Monday and dropped the bomb that he was back in the yard and back into work. Obviously, the big question is he going to make Cheltenham? He sort of gave the vibe that maybe not. It's purely down to him. I asked him. He's obviously got an entry in the Arkle as well, but I asked him. We asked him, didn't we, Rich? We sort of said theoretically, if you were going to go, where would you go? And he did say the Turners. So I think we're due to go see them again mid-February. So hopefully we'll get an update on him then, see how he's going, if he's going to make it or not. But other than that, it's one of them races, Rich. I'll let you go. I mean, it's one of them races where are you going to really get involved, or we're just going to wait to press the green button on Irocco if he's going to make it? He does well fresh. The white run were great, don't you think?
Yeah, his first run over fences, I thought that was very impressive. You know, it's probably up there with the best sort of first time over fences that we've seen.
Even though every one of us put him up for the Browns.
Yes, correct. the first
all three of us, one after each other, says we need to get him in his team, and we're like, the sort of 3 mile, absolute stay. Yeah, Brown advisory, and then he were like, yeah, no, he's going to go Turners, lads, if he gets there. Oh shit, great.
Never mind.
Go on, Rich.
I'm sure I read somewhere that if he is going to make it, they're going to go straight there. There's no time to get any sort of race into him.
I suppose that, again, like you said, it'll come down to how his recovery goes. You know, we're going to go see him mid-Feb. You know, if he's come along, I mean, he's come back quicker than they expected, so there's no reason why he might not recover a bit quicker, depending on how it goes. If they could get a race into him, you'd like to think it's go time.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 16-1, if he was going to make it, then he definitely is a player in this for me. You know, I'd see him in the top 3, I'd like to think. It's probably one of those where you will probably want to wait till after the Irish Arkle. Like you say, there's Facile Vega in here, Gaelic Warrior. I think if both of them were to bomb out, they would probably be diverted into this, and then you got to pick probably out of those two as your winner of this Turners. I think I really like Gaelic Warrior. I just think he's got some engine on him, and if he does bomb out and they do turn up in the Turners, I think potentially he should break his Cheltenham duct finally.
Yeah, it's a taste. I'm just going to put a couple of the Wayne's obviously in the comments here. He's putting some unbelievable comments in here. He's put Marine Nationale is going to win $8,000 if he wins the Arkle, and then Galopin des Champs $14,500 at 33 to 1. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Wayne, I think like I've got a couple of quid on, so I'm like, if they go and win, mate, congratulations. That is some decent bets. Is that Liv's jumped on? Good evening, Liv. Whoop up there, Rocco. Yeah, we had a couple of nice videos of him today off Craig as well. He's looking well, is the lad. I'll come to you guys, Craig. But the Turners, have you had a bet in this? Have you got anything covered? What are your thoughts?
I've got quite a strong opinion here. I spoke to Craig about it the other day. I don't think he was very happy with me.
Shock.
Yeah. We're like brothers, aren't we? Like squabbling brothers.
Anything you agree on? Anything at all?
So I actually think Gaelic Warrior is my lay of the meeting.
No.
Yeah,
no.
I just don't fancy it. I mean, anybody who's listened to our podcast will know that I'm an absolutely massive fan of Gaelic Warrior, but we have parted company, I'm afraid. I was on him at the Boodles at a massive price. I was on him in the Ballymore at a massive price. I then was foolish enough to go in on the Stayers in loads of bets, in some roll-ups, and then the Browns. So maybe I'm just a bit fucked off, but you know. Yeah, maybe so
just a little bit. Maybe just a little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit. It's a sore subject. Yeah, I just think he's very, very, very short for a horse that has been to Cheltenham and just not delivered. I know there's been excuses, like he should have won that Boodles and he didn't. But I just don't think you can get away with jumping right at Cheltenham in the way that he does. And if he was 5-6 to 1, then yeah, fine, I'd be all over it and I could probably take the risk. But no, not at evens or whatever he is. That is just way too short.
11 to 8 best price.
Yeah, okay. 11 to 8 best price. No, not for me.
Way too short.
I think Founder 50 is a very, very, very good horse. I think he's going to win this. I think that run behind Iron Maximus is a good run. a lot of people were quite kind of upset. But I mean, Iron Maximus won an Irish National. He's then gone to run in the Savills. Like, he's a good horse, and he was just kind of outstayed really after the last. So yeah, I think he's going to win. And that run beating Facile Vega, I thought was really impressive. He was kind of knocking about a bit with the jumping and stuff, but to get up and win, I thought was really impressive. So for me, 12-1, I think he's going to win.
Love it. Go on then, Craig. You're obviously not in agreement with Gaelic Warrior. Are you with Gaelic Warrior at a decent price, or are you not on him yet?
No, it's really strange because those that probably started listening to the podcast when we first started, like Bo, was getting Gaelic Warrior tattoos on his backside, and I was the one absolutely rinsing him about jumping right round Cheltenham. Yeah. Now it's just completely flip reverse almost to a certain degree of what we think. Would I back Gaelic Warrior for this race at 11-8? No, not upright. I think it is way too short because of that jump into the right. The reason why I mentioned it for the Arkle is because I think you can get a decent price, so he's probably worth the risk at a better price, but not 11-8. For me, I haven't had a bet in the race yet, but I'd probably take a chance on Hermes Allen in this race. I liked his debut.
Is that not a little bit like the old Gidley Park situation for the UK, no?
Oh, no, I haven't backed it.
You haven't backed it?
I won't be backing it. But I'm saying, no, I haven't backed it, no. I just think his run behind Ile Francais, if you actually look at it, he was miles clear of the third in turn. He just couldn't keep up with the French horse. It wasn't actually that bad of a run. Wasn't the King George run. I think 3 miles is a bit of a stretch for him. I cannot see for the life of me him turning up in a Browns, because they've got stay away fare as well. So I don't see him running in the Browns. If he's going to come to Cheltenham, which I think he will, I think they will run him at Cheltenham, and I think they'll possibly go for this race. So I think at a big price again, I'm not an each way player, but for those that are, it's probably not a bad each way shout in Hermes Langs. If he does turn up here, I think I think he'll definitely run his race.
What price is he?
What was that, sir?
What price is Hermes Allen?
Have I got? Is he on the board?
14s. Didn't someone on Twitter do the timings, and didn't he finish like second in the King George? I know it's obviously different races, but I'm pretty sure he's Hermes Allen, according to his time, finished like second in the King George or something. Oh, I need to dig it out, but I'm pretty sure it was quite an impressive run from him.
I mean, I'm surprised. I mean, I know that Ile Francais. I mean, they mentioned the French Golf.
This is the thing. I think the thing was Allen's run.
Go on, sorry, Craig. Go on.
Yeah. No, sorry. I think I'm just stuttering a little bit behind here with my internet. So sorry about that. No, I was just going to say, if you actually break it down for the King George run, like I say, it wasn't a bad run at all from Hermes Allen. I mean, I think he didn't finish. I think he finished about maybe 4 lengths ahead of the third horse, whatever that was. But you've got to remember, he's tried staying with the French horse pretty much all the way around as well. So I think he raced in second pretty much for the full duration of the race. So he's really tanked along. So no, you can probably improve that. You can probably upgrade that run, I think, a little bit behind him, because the French horse seems like an absolute freak.
Should we do the Paul Nicholls double of Captain Teague and Hermes Allen then, Craig? No, that's
either there's a really big delay there, or he's gone real quiet.
No.
No.
Oh, I love it. No. Joe, then I'll come to you, mate, before you fall asleep there. I know it's getting late for you, pal. Your school night and all that. The Turners then. I mean, we're on the Turners, so that way. Go on then. I mean, obviously, who are you thinking for this, mate? Are you a big fan of Gaelic Warrior as well? Or a Rocco? Sticking with a Rocco just in case? Or he's 6-1, non-runner, no bet. Is that not GSI?
No, not really, mate. I'm not with Gaelic. Like Bo said, he's been to Cheltenham twice. He hasn't really fired. And I think the one thing with the Ballymore, the race, I wouldn't say was ran to suit him, but he had a horse on the inside and the outside and kept him straight. Patrick said that after. I feel like the Turners, they're going to be spread out. He's not going to get much cover. I just feel like it could so quickly go horribly wrong. he might jump the first two, he might jump straight as a die, and he might be okay. But I just can't see it. And 11 to 8 best priced, I don't think anyone should be taking that, to be honest. I think it's a tough market again. I mean, you're looking down. If Irocco can get fully fit, you'd have to give him a chance. I mean, you're looking through. I probably agree with Craig on Hermes Allen. He was very disappointing in the end of last season. I love the way he pinged the fences against Nickelback and his chase debut in the Grade 2. I thought it was impressive there. And then, like Craig said there later on, it was all the talk about how well he jumped, but Hermes Allen was on his tail all the way and he's just emptied out. That was over 3 mile. Maybe a step back and trip. Harry Cobden said straight after the race, Hermes Allen isn't a slow horse and he was tanking round all the way. I just think it might be best off round Cheltenham, to go the same tactics as he was over hurdles, I wouldn't say cuddled up, but, held up a bit more and then brought out for a run, but we'll see. What's that, Wayne?
No, I was just laughing at the ball book coming. Wayne was the first one of life, but it was he's putting some good betting comments in here, but that's probably got me as that. Yeah, it's an open race. I mean, if LA,
my way into Gaelic Warrior, if I was going to try and get involved in it, I was thinking about this today actually. Trying to find a price before the week of or the couple of weeks before of Gaelic Warrior to win the Turners and then the Gold Cup the year after with a small stake, because if he's going to win the Turners, he's got to jump pretty straight. He's going to be okay. Surely then he's Gold Cup's the aim and he's going to shorten in price dramatically. That would be my way into him if I was going to try and get stuck in.
Yeah.
You might get a big price on that.
Yeah, it's not a bad little way in, actually. Like you say, if he goes Turners and he wins it, he's clearly taken, he's jumped well at Cheltenham. He's still clearly done it, been there and done it. And he's got to be a Gold Cup type, hasn't he? I mean, he's got some engine on him. I mean, the Turners is...
They're talking about the King George, aren't they? So...
Yeah, I mean, Rich, I think you've had a bit of a bet on him, haven't you, for King George? You put some crazy double in our WhatsApp group the other day. See what you think of this, but he's done Gaelic Warrior for the King George and Gallia de la Tour for the Grand National.
Don't mind it, to be fair.
Yes, both. James rinsed us both for saying he doesn't. She has a chance. He was like, no.
I gave double odds.
150 to 1 double. I think he's worth a couple of quid.
I'll give you double the odds, but it's a 1p max bet.
So Skelton said, didn't he? I screenshotted it the other day. I think it was
Grand National this year or next year.
This year.
I was going to send it in the chat. He put it. He said on Sporting Life. He said the closest I've finished in the National is 5th. But what I got on Saturday is he travelled very well to get in an early position, jumped nicely, and stayed on very strongly. That ticks all the right boxes for the National. I'm excited. And then
what price is
after 25 to 1, I think it is.
And Harry Skelton also come on the show and said West Balboa will win the Stayers.
And no, he didn't say he'd win it. And then the comment after was James saying, no chance, not a chance. I can't wait for it to win.
I'll be gobsmacked if she wins the Grand National personally, but you never know, dude. They've landed some decent touches on a second, but I think that's just a bit of a stretch. If she can't beat, what would it, my silver lining? She'd have
loads the weight away.
Yeah, I just think she just don't want to win. She's just not bothered about winning. She'd rather just go out for a day, you know what I mean? She's enjoying day trips, that's all. She knows if she keeps coming second, they'll keep taking her out. It's like taking a dog for a walk, innit? Anyway, we're going to move on to the Browns, and then we're going to do. We did our big giveaway on Twitter for a chance to come on the show. We've had quite a few entries for that. I've got my fancy spinny wheel thing that I'm going to jump up in a minute. You might like how I've set that, but we'll do the Brown advisory first. Obviously, Grange Clare West sits at the top of the tree at the moment. Factor Foul, Stay Away Fair, Great Dawning, obviously now an impressive winner at the way, beat Apple away. John, if you're watching, let us know in the comments what you thought of your beloved Apple away getting beat. Get it worry, Monty Star, and a few others in here, Hermes Allen, and a few other horses that, we obviously got a lot in here. Come to you first, Bo. Let me take this off, actually. I pressed the wrong button. I pressed the wrong button again. And he's gone. Where's he gone? Craig, I'll come to you, mate. So the Brown Advisory, obviously a lot of mixed in here. National Chase, don't know which one is going to weigh. A lot of bolts in here. Have you got a sort of any you're keeping your eye on over the next couple of weeks for the Brown Advisory?
Yeah. I have, and it's another UK horse, believe it or not, if I have to pick one at this moment in time.
You're joking. You're not living in dreamland,
I really liked Stay Away Fair on the first run. No, genuinely. I really liked Stay Away Fair's first run at Exeter, where she really sort of ran through the line strongly after looking like she might have been a little bit outpaced, and she really sort of come on strong. And when you're looking for, I still call it the RSA, by the way. When you're looking for an RSA horse, that's what I like to try and look for, horses that finish strong, that are really sort of galloping through the line, because that's really what you need for an RSA horse. And I was really impressed with that. I thought the way that he beat Giovinco as well was quite impressive, even though Giovinco obviously completely bombed out in the King George, but I do think that probably just a race too quickly. I think for Giovinco, I probably want his true run. I don't think in the King George, and it was a bit of a, I think it was just too quickly for back-to-back races. But no, he's got Cheltenham form, winning the Bartlett, and that can be invaluable sometimes as well. I think that's always worth its weight in gold. And again, you've got question marks against others at the front of the market. So I suppose I'm giving Stay Away Fame more for an advice for people that try and put bets on now, because I think she'll be. So I think he'll definitely. But I always say she. It says Fair. I always call it a girl horse. I don't know why, but I think
we get it all wrong on here anyway. I mean, Joe calls them all wrong all the time, don't you? I thought that you were saying she. I'm thinking, has he lost something along the way or what? Has he brushed the top of one a little bit too close?
This is the best one ever. So this is the best one though. For absolutely years, I used to call Edna Bolger, and I used to think it was a woman, and I did that for years. Absolutely years. Genuinely, and I didn't realise it was only about 4 years ago I realised it was a bloke.
Well, let's hope you never meet him.
But yeah,
are you Edna?
I know. Tell me about it. Yeah, that's
I mean, no, I'm in agreement with you though on Stay Away Fair. I mean, I put Stay Away Fair up on our Cheltenham show. I think he's the one to be on. I think he suits the profile perfectly for a Browns. I think he's been to Cheltenham. He's been and done it. He's a proper stayer. I think 3 out. I mean, John's jumped on in the comments. He's a big fan of Apple Away. She obviously got beat, but ran well against Grey Dawning. Walloped Broadway Boy. Sorry, Rich, you put Broadway Boy up. I'm assuming that slip's going to be in the bin. I think he'll do well to reverse the form with a couple of them. Might go a different route maybe, but for me, I think Stay Away Fair. If there's going to be a battle on at the end, he's going to be motoring. That's when he does all his best work. That's my opinion anyway. So I'm happy to stay with Stay Away Fair all day long. For Nichols, I think he's got the winner there. Rich, obviously Broadway Boy. What are you thinking on that? I mean, I was shocked that Grey Dawning won that race. I didn't think the step back up in trip would suit him, but he's clearly shown that it did. I mean, is he a player now in this race? What do you think?
I couldn't trust his jumping, to be fair. He's not one for me.
He likes to take 1 or 2 with him, doesn't he?
He does. Yeah, Broadway Boy disappointing, but he's had some tough races, I think. I wouldn't write him off.
You just need a bit of a cuddle,
Yeah, I'm less confident now.
Gently in that.
What I do quite like as like another outside option is Monty's Star, about 16-1. I think these staying trips, I think they're sort of up his street. He beat 3 Card Drag over 2 miles 7 last time out. I just thought that was a good jumping sort of performance over that sort of distance. I think I do like Stay Away Fair. I think you're probably right there, but a little different option for me would be Monty's Star now, I think.
Interesting. I mean, I wouldn't think the 3 Card Bragg form isn't much good, but he did jump pretty well that day. Took a lot of lengths out of him at each fence, didn't he? Pretty impressive in that sense, but I think he's still got a lot to go for a Brown Advisory. Bo, mate, Brown Advisory, have you got any roll-ups on this one? Who's your eyes drawn to in this market?
Yeah, I mean, we could probably do a Trixie with you two lads tipping up Stay Away Fair, couldn't we? We've got Paul Nichols Trixie up. So that's interesting.
Captain T, stay away from and Hermes Allen.
Oh, yeah.
He's gonna have some week, He's gonna have some week.
It's gonna go well. My two against
I'll clip that for the week after when it happens.
Yeah, perfect.
3 UK winners right there.
Exactly. We're gonna win the Presbyterian Cup.
I say Presbyterian Cup's coming home.
Yeah. My two against the field would be Factor File. I thought Factor File was really, really impressive. The last day, jumped like a stag and just sped away from everything. I think he's going to take a lot of beating, but I would also agree with Rich. I think Monty's Star is a very, very good horse. I think he'll be Henry's Gold Cup horse next year. So, yeah, I mean, it's his only entry as well. So he's 16-1. That he's got to shorten, surely. I mean, he's only going to go here. He's beaten. I think 3 Card Bragg is a decent horse, and I think he'll go well in the National Hunt Chase. So, yeah, I think that form is very good. He jumped brilliantly that day. Proper stayer. So I think 16-1 is very fair, but then I also think Factor File will go very close. Maybe a little reverse forecast there for me.
I love it. To be fair, Monty's Star is one of them that seems to just be getting he seems to be improving with each run, doesn't he? He's getting better as he goes, and the further he goes, he's jumping.
He's related to somebody as well, isn't he? I'm sure he's related to. I can't remember. Who it is. I'll have Google.
Can't remember. Joe, have I come to you yet for the Browns? Can't remember if I have. Sorry, mate.
No.
Go on then, mate. I mean, obviously,
surprised no one's mentioned Grange Clare West. To be honest, he give me. I know it's a big statement, but he gave me Alahoish vibes in terms of like he won the race in like the first 2 mile. He travelled very, very strongly. And I think he got them all to the sword very, very quickly. He just travelled too strong and they couldn't keep up with him at the end. And I was on him that day at 9-2 and I backed him for this. I think 7-2 is pretty short. But for me, I just really like Grange Clare West. I think he's got such a high cruising speed. He's such a good jumper. He's so fluent. I think, it could be an Alahoish performance where they just go from the front and, by the time they're going up the hill, there's horses staying on behind, but nothing can catch him. As you look through the market, there's a few in here that I don't think will be there, to be honest. Gaelic Warriors 12-1. Grey Dawn in 9-1. Oh, there it is there. Gaelic Warrior, not a fan. Grey Dawning, I don't think they'll be in there. And then Hermes Allen, Embassy Gardens, Nick Rockets, Sandork again. I just feel like it's all happening at the top of the market for this one, really. And I feel like Grange Clare West, for me, anyway, if he's bigger than 5-1, he'd probably be one of my bigger bets of the day, to be honest. I really fancy him.
You just hope he gets there, though, don't you? He's a bit...
That's what I mean. He's in a way he's made of glass, but I just think Mullins wasn't slow to say that he was very, very disappointing over hurdles. And he seems to have took chasing very, very well. Like I say, I wouldn't back him now, but on the day if he's 7-2 or bigger, and he's in good health, I'd really fancy him to go well, to be honest.
Monty Star's a half brother to Monolly. That was it.
Monolly, that was it. Anyway. It was something beginning with them. Like I say, it's an open race. If Grange Clare West hopefully gets there, like he says, in his shoes, but fingers crossed he does get there, Joe. Like I say, I'm a big fan with Craig. I think stay away.
Is he entered for the 2 mile 5 at the DRF?
He is, yes. He has got an entry in that, yeah.
DRF.
So I can see.
Correct, yeah. He's entered at the 2 mile 5 race at the DRF.
That's my only problem. That's my only problem. Like Bo said there, if they run him there, he might get caught in a 7-4 favourite, but then all of a sudden you could be checking your phone he's not running again this season or whatnot. So he's won. Do you back now, or do you back him after in case he's won that? He's clearly the horse carrying the Irish flag, and he could be a lot shorter.
You'll have to check what price he's non-runner no bet, maybe. No, he'll obviously be a bit shorter, but maybe want to take non-runner no bet. Right then, lads, that's the Brown Advisory. So what I'm going to do now, then, if I can, we did a bit of a giveaway So for people for a chance to come on the show, and we had quite a few entries. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this up and see if this works. Are you ready for this? Let's see if this works. Here we go. Oh, don't mess about. So this is my spinning wheel with everyone's names in who entered. And I'm going to spin this, and this is how we're going to get the random winner. So here we go. Good luck, everybody. Here we go. Is that spinning?
Yeah.
Oh. Oh. That's cruel.
LP is the winner. Congratulations, LP.
What's his name, James?
LP. It just said LP on his profile, so I'll get in contact with him and we'll get him on the show for one of our previews in February. Congratulations, mate. You've also won a racing mug from Hacked Up Racing and a racing pin from Horse Racing Pins there. Obviously got some really good gear. We've all got the full set. I love them pins, mate. I think they're a really nice touch, and obviously a mug of your choice as well. So well done for winning that. And thank you, everyone who entered. We really do appreciate it massively. So, right then. So what we're going to do next is, lads, I've put just sort of the top of the markets in the main championship races. We'll have a quick scan through them. And then we'll, if you've got any sort of handicap ones you may be looking for, you can drop them in. And sort of a best bet currently from right now that we might think is the one that's going to go close on the week of. So the first one's then the Champion Hurdle. I've put these together. Constitution Hill, State Man. Is that it? Move on.
Verban.
Is anything get Constitution Hill beat apart from Nicky?
No.
I think that's a slow one then. Go on then. We'll move on to the Stayers Hurdle. This is pretty an interesting one and could turn out to be a pretty tasty race, actually. Thelem the favourite, Tehupu, Irish Point. Obviously, Racing Post put a thing out, Gordon Elliott says they might send them all here. Imperial Pass, Crambo, Sir Gerhard, Rich. I'll come to you first. You put Sir Gerhard up as a tentative selection at a decent price. It's looking like he's going to end up here. What are your thoughts on this race? Are you sticking with him, or are you thinking now that there's a couple more potentially in here? Is it looking a bit more tougher for him?
No, I'm still behind him. You know, he's a horse that I've always liked. You know, he's just had the class. I watched him when he's Ballymore in horrendous conditions. I think you were there in the downpour.
Were you there that day?
I was there that day. I got absolutely drenched. Worst day in terms of weather I've ever experienced, I think.
I was sat in the pub watching it thinking, oh, I'm pleased I'm not James.
I was stuck on the front rail crying. I don't think I backed a single chuffing winner that day, actually.
Success.
Stood there singing. Why does it always rain on me? Go on,
I just think he's class. You know, obviously it didn't go right chasing. He never looked comfortable. Fell more times, I think, than he finished. I'm pleased to have gone back over hurdles. He won last time out. You don't think he'll stay, but that Ballymore was a bit of a slog. So I just think he's got the class, and yeah, I'm still sticking with him.
Fair play, Joe. Any thoughts on the Stayers Hurdle? You obviously put up. Who did you put up originally? Do you want to let the lads know?
Marie's Rockmate, and she's been very poor. She's been a big disappointment this season, to be honest. I don't know. I put it on Twitter. There's Wayne again.
Sorry.
I put it on Twitter before. You know, Tehupu's obviously been there, close to getting it done, but didn't. But they've obviously seen something in Irish Point to send, you know, to look at sending him as well. You know, I was there when Crambo got beat at Haydock. That was painful. And Pere passes in there. Surely won't run in here. And then you've got the older boys, Paisley Park, Sidhu Champ. So I'm not too sure, to be honest, mate. You know, you've got the French horse in there who's all over Twitter. I know you've got a bet on Tehupu, so you'll be hoping he can do the business. But yeah, again, another open market. You know, I don't think I wouldn't take Crambo. It's probably going to be out the two Elliott horses for me. Be very interesting who Jack decides to sit on. But yeah, to be totally honest, I can't really make a case for many, really.
Well, I'm going to come to Craig. I'm assuming you've obviously back to UK horse in this. Which one have you gone for?
It's even better with the delay.
I'm just going to say it's even
What's that
with the delay. I said, which UK horse have you backed in the Stayers?
Oh, Paisley Park. No, I'm only kidding. Do you know what? I really don't have a strong opinion on this race at all at this moment in time. I'm a bit similar to Joe. It's just a bit of a. I don't know. It's not really a race I'd even.
There's nothing exciting in there, is there?
No, I think Tiupu needs the ground, so you're almost gambling on the weather plus that for it to be seen at its best. Irish Point's obviously an interesting one, being now touted to go into it. The French horse could be anything, just like Le Francais was anything. And some of these people that put these tweets up saying, "Oh, this Thelm is this and that," they ain't got a clue what they're talking about. They're just going on hype. Do you know what I mean? No one follows French racing that much, apart from your man that's got that fantastic handwriting. What's his name?
Oh, it's Adam something, isn't it? Tell you what, that's the neatest handwriting I've ever seen in my life.
You can just look at his tweets and just have a drink while you're looking at them. Just read. It's lovely. But like, I think, no, it's not something I'd be getting involved in right now in this race at all. I think it could flop. It could change the market dramatically over the next 2 months, and I don't think the favourite's price at 4-1 will be that much dissimilar than what it will be on the day. So I just hang fire.
I said that, Craig, the other day. Look, looking at the markets, you might get one of the Robcar horses coming in price, but I think everything else, you're not going to see a massive market move on any of them. I mean, Crambo's not going to get much more money. The French horse, you might get a small move on the day from, the French backing it, but I don't think you're going to see an odds on. Do you know what I mean? You're still going to get some sort of price.
Yeah, the only main market move you're going to have is when you actually properly find out who Jack Kennedy's going to ride. Yeah, that will also bring in whichever horse that is then into possibly even favouritism, to be fair. But apart from that, I mean, I'm just trying to think of is there any other major races now over that sort of distance that moves the market? So, I don't know.
Not really, no. Like I say, it's a very open field, and I don't know what Bo's laughing at. Are you laughing? Is there some comments? I keep turning them off.
I'm just laughing at Wayne.
Wayne's loving it. It's all in on Phil M.
I'm missing these, by the way. I can't see these comments.
Well, we're on private chat.
Comments.
Click to comments.
Oh, there we go.
One comment should be at the time of his life is all Wayne.
All me. Love the confidence.
The stayers hurdle market, it's not one to get so heavily. You're going to get most of these prices on the day, I think.
The one thing I would say about it is everyone I've spoken to who knows quite a bit about the French stuff does rave about this for Lem. I mean, I've not backed him yet, so I'm not speaking through a pocket or anything. I'm just going off what they've told me. So I probably will have to have a go on him at some point. But for me, Tiupu is the most likely winner. I think there was excuses last year for why he was beat. And I think he's got the best form in the race from what I know of. Obviously taking Thelem out of it. But I just... This Irish Point run last time, I think, has been massively blown out of proportion. So, Irish Point won, Asterion Phalange, Ballyadam, Beacon Edge, Home by the Lee, Buddy won. That is a shocking field. I'm sorry, but I'm not having him as like 6-1, like up there for the stayers when that's who he beat last time out. That is one of the worst fields in a graded race I've ever seen. Asterion Phalange is like, what is he, like a 10, something like that? Like he's ancient and he wasn't even that good in his heyday.
To be fair, I think 10's pretty young for this field.
Yeah, true. But yeah, so I think he's a good horse. Don't get me wrong, but the price he is based on what he did last time is absolutely ridiculous.
Jack Kennedy will definitely ride to Tiupu. I've got no question. I've got no doubts about that. It won't be Irish Point. Yeah,
I said that too, lads, isn't that? I'm in agreement with Bo there. If you go through that Irish Point race, it is terrible. I mean, he had Home by the Lee beaten after about 2 hurdles. He was already gone. It's just a really poor race. He's going to have to show.
If Paisley Park places in this race, he can throw it in bin. He's about how old Paisley Park now? About 24. Just keeps coming back and coming back, doesn't it? Ridiculous. Man.
He's old enough to buy a pack of fags.
It'll be you watch. We're saying all this now, and it'll be Paisley Park win, Saida Burley second,
Daffel Drasher
just coming. Yeah, Daffel Drasher third.
I hope so. I want to clip that. It's great.
Fantastic, I love it. I just Louis jumped on. Louis Burkett, mate. Evening, late. You're all right. Good to see you. Thanks for tuning in. Last few then. Obviously, the chases. I've stuck these all on one. We've sort of spoken about the champion chase. I mean, we're obviously massive fans of El Fabiolo. I think he takes all the beating. The Ryanair, you got Alahone, you got Galloping des Champs in the Gold Cup as sort of an overall discussion. It's obviously 3 short price favourites. I'll come to you both first. Are you with them, or are you going to try and get them beat? It's tough to back them sort of prices now, isn't it?
I'm trying to think of them. Oh, I'm not with Alaho at all. No, I think that's a shocking price. I think he'll be beaten. I'd have Stage Star Streets ahead of him, and I'd have who else? I'd have Appreciate It as probably a better Willie Mullins candidate than Alaho myself. Banbridge, yeah, I've backed Banbridge. The last run was really good first time up, but yeah, no, massively against Alaho. I think he looks like the last run. No zest. Even Ruby said
Nichols lucky 15 now, but is that lucky 15 on Nichols now? Then we're French Stage Star in as well. It's 4 now.
Well, no. Well, yeah, maybe.
Oh my God, yeah, that is the ultimate lucky 15 right there.
Imagine if this actually wins and we all don't back it. Oh,
you never see me again.
Do you know? I'm kind of pleased in a way that Stage Star was beaten last time out, because I hadn't backed him before he was beaten, and honestly, that race I really don't care about. It was just getting him right and a bit of fitness and a run around Cheltenham for the big day in March. And obviously,
Nichols even said it in that little cameo.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he just wasn't that bothered. El Fabiolo, John Bon. I think El Fabiolo wins. I think he's got the bigger engine as long as his jumping stands up. I was really impressed. I thought that the same weekend you had John Bon, El Fabiolo. I thought El Fabiolo's was the better performance, but I think I'm probably in the minority there than John Bon at Sandown. And Galloping des Champs, I read an interesting piece. I can't remember who wrote it, but it was a journo. It was a racing journo, so it doesn't really matter. But it was basically talking about the ground at Leopardstown. And it was talking about the fact that on the inner rail, it was like a proper bog, whereas the outside was a bit better, which is obviously where Paul Townend went on Grange Clare West and Galloping des Champs. Look, I'm a bit of a cynic. I thought that performance was too good to be true. And I think Jerry Clum will get closer next time. But I'm not saying Jerry Clum will win, but I just don't think he liked that ground at all. He travelled on the inside. I thought it was horrible. And Galloping was able to easily get away. So I think, I don't know about the Gold Cup. I'm a bit flaky on it at the moment. I can kind of flip between fast or slow or Galloping, but I just don't. What I'm saying is I just don't believe that performance. I think it was too good to be true.
It's a very interesting point you make there about the ground potentially. Obviously, Townend keeping him out to the outside on slightly better ground. I mean, it was a shame fast or slow didn't turn up. It'd be interesting if they come against each other before the actual Gold Cup. I mean, Rich, you've put Alla Hope for the Ryanair, and you've also put Jerry up for the Gold Cup. I don't know where your slips are now. I mean, I'm assuming they're at the bottom of a rubbish bin somewhere.
I like all these 3 favourites. I think the treble is a good bet.
We found the value.
I know people are slating Alaho's last run, but it was against some of the best.
You're going against Ruby?
Brave Man's Game was second in last year's Gold Cup.
Terrible horse.
Shishkin, was probably going to be up there, but he chucked Nico off. I just think it was a good.
To be fair, Alaho's been smashed by Hewitt and he couldn't get near Brave Man's Game. To me, that's terrible form.
I just think it was a good prep one for this Ryanair. Dropping back to the Ryanair distance. I like him. I mean, I got 7-1, so I'm quite.
Do you not think on his debut though? Like everybody raved about his debut, and me and Craig's. Well, we said it on our podcast as well. Like he looked like flat out. Like, and he was racing against horses within his own stable that obviously didn't want to get anywhere near him. Really, there wasn't really much of a race. And coming up to the line, he looked absolutely gone on his feet.
I think I mentioned that to Rich and James on Thursday. Ruby's comments when he mentioned about the he's got no zest. He used to win, as I mentioned, Grange Clare West. He used to win his races, in the first mile and a half, stretching it, like LA France did in a way, stretching, the horses in behind couldn't go with him. And by the time they want to make the effort, they don't have that stamina left there. And the off-putting thing for me was, he was up against Brave Man's Game, Hewick. They're not all, I wouldn't say speedy horses. Frodden's been retired. Shish, he looked flat out all the way. And I just worry, that there's younger horses coming as he found his mojo back. I'd love to see him go and win again. But, can he get back to that?
He's had 2 runs.
Sorry, he's hardly beat Brave Man's Game, and that horse is broken. Like, he's gone. And he really struggled against him.
He's had 2 runs in 18 months. I can forgive him not being up to his usual zest.
How old are you onto the hope, aren't you, Rich?
Sorry? You're
clinging onto the hope.
I just think he's better than Bambridge and better than Stage Star. I mean, Bambridge.
He was.
I think Bambridge was lucky. I mean, if Pic D'Orhy jumps the last, I mean, he got weight from Pic D'Orhy as well. I just think that's a lot closer. And yeah, I just can't have Stage Star.
I think it's just you get so wrapped up in the. We love to see him come back. I mean, it is going to be a tough ask for him. I mean, if you're on 7-1, you don't mind taking the risk. I think the price right now is way too short. I think Bambridge might go well, but again, a little bit like what some people think of maybe Tehupo is maybe ground dependent. I sort of put MVL in at the beginning, but we've not seen him since the down rail run.
Do we think Allaho runs on Sunday?
Well, I was just going to say, I think they're entered in the same race. What's the race called? I forgot what it's called.
Horse and Jockey Hotel Chase at Thurles.
I think MVL and Allaho both entered in that, so it'll be interesting to see if they go, what goes there, what happens with that. I think Joe's probably got the best one there. He went on at 16-1 for Stage Star. I think we're a great price. I think you're on to a good one there, mate, to be honest. Gold Cup. I've not really dived into Gold Cup yet. I liked Fast or Slow for that Savills race, but obviously didn't run, so I don't really know what's going to go with him. But the one that really, I mean, obviously the Home Press is due out again, I think, on Sunday at Lingfield. I'm really interested to see how he goes because he's one of them that I really took to when he won that Brown Advisory. I was really impressed by that. I think he's got good Cheltenham form. He's been there twice, won twice. I think if he comes back to any sort of potentially what he was like before, I think he'd have a decent each way chance. He's a big price, but again, I just want to make sure he's actually come back to what if he comes back and wins, then I'll probably be putting a bit on him, to be honest. That's probably me for that. And the other
James,
one,
I've got a big question for you.
Go on, mate.
Where do you think Hitman will go right now? Gold Cup.
I think it's 100-1 for the Ryanair's Hitman. I mean, to me, that's worth a quid.
Hitman at the start of the season, by the way.
He might come back. You never know.
Absolutely loved him.
Craig,
let this horse go, James. Let this horse go.
I have a theory about, and this sounds absolutely mental, so I'd like to hear your opinions on it. What do you think if I said Shishkin doesn't like Cheltenham?
I'd probably agree completely with you.
So I know he won the Supreme and he won an Arkle, but the Arkle was like a walkover pretty much. And in the Supreme, he ran a very strange race. But I'm just not convinced. Having seen him in the Champion Chase and having seen him in the Turners last year. Was it the Turners or the RSA? Was it the RSA he ran in? Whatever it was. He ran a shit race. That was the Ryanair, wasn't it? That was it. Yeah, sorry. No, it would be the Ryanair. Yeah.
As he's got a bit older, he seems to have not been able to handle it. I think, like you say, he was, I won't say lucky, obviously, come from an unbelievable position in that Supreme. I was on the Abracadabra Saturday, and the missus was on Shishkin. I was absolutely fuming at that. And the Arkle, obviously, was just complete and utter walkover. But since then, like you say, he's not, every time he's turned up, there's been something that's just gone wrong for him. And
to be fair,
pretty short price, I think.
Yeah, I'd probably agree there. I mean, he has been a Neely horse sorry, not a Neely horse. Bit of a disappointment. I don't know. He's a horse you look back at and you say, could he have won that King George? Could he have won the Champion Chase? You just don't know. To be fair though, his Ryanair form's very good. Hitman was in third.
I mean, yeah. Hitman travelled like the chuffing winner in that Ryanair. I was counting my money, mate, and he just got outstayed at the end. I was gutted. And he's obviously not his comeback. What was it? The old Roney comeback, completely bombed out. But yeah, no hope for him now. 100-1. You never know. Craig, you got an opinion on these last three before we finish off with anything else?
Yeah, I'll keep it short and sweet. El Fabiolo for me, I don't think gets beaten champion chase. I'm actually a little bit with you, Bo, in terms of I'm not too sure if John Bunn likes the Cheltenham Hill either, if I'm being completely honest with you. Watching some of its last couple of races, even the race that he won last time out, which everyone really sort of raving about. But from the bottom of the hill to the top, he didn't really do loads. He just did what he had to do. It wasn't like he was careering away up the hill. So I'm all over El Fabiolo with that race. The Ryanair, I think Appreciate it. He's probably overpriced a little bit at tens. I think he ran a decent race last time. I think if he goes from the front, you just never know him. He might just stay there and kick away. And the Gold Cup, I'll try and look at a different angle to everybody else. And I maybe might fancy Gentleman's Game each way at 20s. I thought obviously first time out, obviously travelling over here to Wetherby, beating Braveman's Game, which I know maybe on paper now doesn't look fantastic, but yeah, I'd probably give him another go at 20-1 rather than looking towards front of market. I'll try and look for a bit of value and say that each way at 20s for people that are listening. I won't back it myself each way because I don't do each way betting, but to put one up, I'd say that at 20-1.
Nice, I like it. There's a couple of comments here. Lewis put El Fabiolo evens where? I just checked there, mate. Actually, bet 365 says evens, whether that's right or not. If you want to bet that, you can do. Paul's put, let's be honest, you have to wait for Willie Mullins' horses in these races. He's the man most likely to train the winner. That's probably the case, to be honest. But
he's not going this season, though. I'm telling you, this season, Gordon's got the upper hand.
Yeah,
he's certainly got certainly some firepower. I think he's bringing some horses along quite well. I think Gordon Elliott's. I think he's definitely going to do a lot better than he's done in the last year. He didn't do very well last year. Last year he didn't do well, or the year before he was shocking.
Right. I think Gordon's got the better bumper horses. Gordon's got the better novice hurdlers. Yeah.
It's certainly one to think about. You know, we normally I think you get a lot of people that kind of veer just towards Willie Mullins, but this could be the year where potentially it sort of gets a little bit undone with some of these others in here. Paul puts here, Marie's Rock does not stay 3 mile. No way can anyone be tipping her for the stayers. You listening, Joe?
I mean, three lengths behind Sire de Ballet, who won the stayers last year.
He was 46 years old.
You know, obviously beat Tia Hoopoo James, who you've backed. So I thought, you know, I agree. She's been way too keen, and she has been a massive disappointment. But beat Florent Porter at Aintree, beat Champ, beat Dashel Drescher. 3 lengths behind, travel like the winner, lost the shoe. I mean,
yes, but she doesn't stay, Joe. Just leave it at that. She doesn't stay. Cheltenham.
I mean, she's not going. Didn't they say she's going to the Mayor's Hurdle? So it doesn't matter. Does it?
Correct. Yeah, so. Joe obviously put her up right at the beginning of the season, so we will let him off a little bit. Don't worry, Joe. We'll let you off. Don't worry. They can't all win.
Facile can.
Facil's with Marie's Rock. I think they've gone off at sunset together. Right, lads. So that'll probably do for that. I mean, I just sort of put a little section in there. I mean, obviously the handicaps. I just thought I'd put that as a thing. If you've got maybe one that you're maybe looking at for one of the handicaps, I know it's early still. We've still got a lot of water under the bridge for it, but have you lads got anything that you maybe just keeping a track of for any of the handicaps you might want to mention that maybe get somebody on early?
Bit obvious. Batman Girac, I think he wins the Boodles. I mean, I know he got a mark of 133, bit harsh, but I think he's way better than that. Look at his last run. He could have won with a bit of a ride where they were interested, but they obviously weren't. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I think he's quite short. I've not actually checked his price, but Better Days Ahead in the pipe. I'll be very interested in him. I was saying to Craig yesterday that Gordon needs to start getting winners for Bective Stud. They're big supporters of his yard. Not had any Cheltenham Festival winners yet. I think he's been plotting away in handicaps for them. Better Days Ahead in the pipe.
Didn't they go closer one last year? I can't remember which one it was now.
They've had Queensbrook go close before. That's the only one that springs to mind for me.
Yeah, I do think what you're saying there, though. They do support him a hell of a lot, and they normally have some good runners, but the elusive Cheltenham Festival winner's not quite there yet. But he do likes to plot a handicap. Craig, have you got anything you'd like to drop on us to get on early? One that you're thinking that's been plotted?
Similar-ish to Borwick Boodles. I was interested to see what Nürburgring ends up with in terms of a rating. I quite like the horse. I think it seems to be improving, and it reminds me of the year when Band of Outlaws won for Joseph. Obviously, he had a progressive sort of profile, but he won a lot of his races rather than obviously Nürburgring's also come second. But I'm interested to see what happens there with its rating. And the only other one I'm interested in, but it's quite a short price, even though it's double figures, is My Mate Mozzie for a Grand Annual. I think that's about 10-1. But again, I'll just have a watch. And again, a lot of things with these handicaps is just it's difficult sometimes, but people on Twitter nowadays are quite good at it. It's just making sure you're always on top of when some of these Irish trainers put the English horses or enter them in races over here when they've got absolutely no intention of running them, just to see what the mark is. And sometimes that might just give you a little bit of a steer as to where they're thinking about going. So just make sure when you're on Twitter and stuff like that, because unless you've got a BHA login, it's difficult to see. But obviously, people nowadays are quite good on doing it, but always make sure you're checking on that, because like I say, some of these trainers will stick a horse in, have no intention of running it, but they'll just see what the mark is. And sometimes that can be a little bit of a trigger as to say, well, that might be going here or that might be going there, or etc. A bit like we've done with Batman Durack to a certain degree. I mean, that obviously had absolutely no interest in coming over to England, but Willie entered it to purely to see what the mark was. So just keep your eyes up and stuff like that as well if you've got any fancies in Coral Cup or Grand Annual or anything like that from over in Ireland.
The other one I would keep an eye on is just Captain Combi has been moved to Emmett Mullins, as probably everyone's seen. So if they enter him in the Kelso race and go for the Kelso bonus, that'd be very interesting. His hurdle and chase mark is very similar. So there's something going on there. So I'd keep an eye on that Kelso entry.
Love that. And I'll come to you then, you two lads. Joe, Rich, I mean, you obviously put Langer Dan up last week, Joe. I mean, I think you're mad, but you've got anything you'd like to? I mean, obviously we've got a couple more shows to go on the countdown show, so you don't have to give too much away. But if you've got anything you maybe just keeping your eye on, let us know now.
No, not really. Chicanti Classic or maybe for the Ultima, but obviously short. Everyone seems to be quick now with a handicap store. They're on clicking on things. Everyone's watching marks. Like Craig said there, everyone's watching for entries, especially horses who've had 3 runs, from Ireland and then being put away. It's like I say, it is a bit disappointing. But in terms of Langer Dan, my mind's gone blank. Who did we have on last week?
Lockham Williams come on.
Lockham Williams, he sat on him before. He's won on him. He put him on as well. Little telepathic. Fucking hell, I couldn't say
Welcome to our blokes from Middlesbrough trying to speak.
It was, I don't think it was a bad claim. That the 12s have seemed to have gone already. Like Larkin said, he lights up round Cheltenham. I think that's another word for the handbrake comes off. But yeah, like I say, I think that's it for me at the moment. But yeah, wouldn't surprise me. I think every year now we're seeing shorter priced handicaps market wise. For very, very big runner fields.
No, I like it, mate. Rich, do you want to finish us off on the handicaps?
Yeah, not really a lot for me. I looked on Twitter. Gavin Cromwell said that My Mate Mozzie, the Grand Annual, was a big option, just given his mark. Chianti Classico for the Ultima potentially could run there, but I think they said if he could also run at Kempton on the 24th of Feb as an option, and if he does run in that, then he won't be going to the Ultima. So it's just something to consider.
Yeah, and the other one I'll sort of mention is obviously we had Josh Guerrero come on. He gave us some good updates. He mentioned about White Rhino potentially trying to get him qualified for the Pertemps. We thought they might take him to Warwick, but obviously they've missed that one now. The only one I could maybe see him going for, there's one at Haydock. What was the date I said? Oh, was it the 17th, Joe? It's Craig's birthday, isn't it?
Yeah.
The 17th, the Haydock race. If I'd be interested if White Rhino goes there and they try and get him qualified for the Pertemps. But that's the only one I'm kind of looking at the moment, obviously from Josh. So, yeah, sound. Obviously, the handicaps are tight, so we'll look forward to them. So what I'll do is then, lads, if I can, to finish us off, one bet or one selection, if you had, say, a £10 free bet to put on right now, your banker of the festival for the viewers, who would it be? I'll come to you first, Bo, and we'll swing. In fact, I'll do Rich and Joe first, and then we'll finish with you, lads. Mine would be Stay Away Fair. I think £10 will win on him at about 5-1's a banker. I love him. Rich, about you? One bet for the festival.
Just go to Joe while I just figure out.
Sure, fair now. You're supposed to have it ready, Rich. Joe, one bet for the festival, who is it?
Stage Star. So I think you can get 6 or 7-1 now. Stage Star would be my bet.
Fair enough. Rich, are you ready?
I'd have to go Allaho. I still think.
God.
I still think he's got it.
Surely though, you must admit 9-4 best priced. Hello for the Ryanair is a very.
It's either that or Gaelic Warrior for the Arkle just to beat Marine National.
Sorry, I should have said something over 5-4 would have been nice. Sorry,
I think Rich said the biggest layers of the meeting.
Go on then, Paul, mate. Who's your one selection for the festival right now?
Well, if I was given £10, I'd have a £5 each way double on Corbett's Cross in the National Hunt Chase and Founder 50 in the Turners.
Oof, I love that. I mean, obviously, we're all going to have to back these bets because if they'll come off, we look silly if we haven't put something on then. Craig, if you put up the Nichols Lucky 15, I'll be happy.
No, well, I'll leave that one alone. I'd be between two, so I'll mention them both, but my £10 free bet would probably go on Brighter Days Ahead in the Mares Novice Hurdle. I've been backing her for a while, since about 16-1 in Woods, so I'm sort of heavy in that, so that would be one I'd be very interested in. The other one as well that I managed to get, I think it was 16-1 on, was Nick Rocket for the National Hunt Chase. Again, it's a funny one. You'll have to keep looking out for the entries because it does have to qualify still. It has to run over 2 miles, 7.5, and finish in the top 4. So it hasn't qualified yet, but there's a few in the same scenario. And generally speaking, in Ireland, you always get a couple of races where there'll be 4 or 5 runners over 3 miles or something daft like that. So just look out for the entries on him. But I think he's into about 8-1 now. So, but I'll stick my neck out on line for Brighter Days Ahead in the Mares Novice Hurdle.
I agree with you, Craig.
Did you see she got an entry in the Mares Hurdle? Just saying.
Oh, she got an entry in the Mares Hurdle as well. Oh,
yeah.
Burdett Road's got an entry in Champion Hurdle.
Oh, I love it, lads. I love it. Brilliant. Well, that brings the show to a fantastic end. I've loved it. Honestly, all I will say is, I mean, I'll just put Paul's comment on there. It says, only him and Wayne have been commenting. You have been putting some comments in there. They've been very interesting to see, but we do appreciate guys tuning in and watching. All I'll say is, guys, obviously Cheltenham's 8 weeks away. We're looking forward to it. Craig, Bo, thank you for coming on. Have you enjoyed yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be fairly enjoyable.
I was going to say, Craig, is that a delay or was you going to say no?
He was thinking about it. He was thinking about it.
Just a delay. I feel like I'm on free serve dial-up tonight for some reason. I don't know what's going on.
But yeah, honestly, it's been a pleasure having you lads on. We've obviously loved talking racing. It's great. And it was nice to talk some Cheltenham racing with all the racing off. So thank you guys for coming on and joining us. Rich and Joe, we're going to have a break on Monday. There'll be no show on Monday. We're going to be back the Monday after with the Cheltenham show. We'll be back next Thursday as well for Trials Day. Loads more stuff coming up. We appreciate obviously everyone who's watched tonight and commented. I know it's been a bit of a longer one, but I hope you've got some good content from that and appreciate everyone's opinions. So yeah, any last words?
Comment again.
Cheers for the comments, Wayne. Honestly,
you've made respect Fanny Betters. I think he's talking to you there, Rich. 50p on Allaho, get in.
No, cheers for coming on though, lads. I really enjoyed it.
No, thanks for inviting us. Thanks very much. Cheers. Thanks for having us.
And like you say, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Go follow the Rain It In lads as well. They've got their podcast. It's another good listen as well. And we're all just smashing it up on Twitter and loving life. So that's me. That's us. That's the Fan of Flight podcast. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you all again next time. Cheers, guys.
Yeah. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Bye bye.